Today we're going to fix a tube, but not with a patch. We're actually going to vulcanize new rubber to it. Hey Ginger, there, jump. Come on, jump. There we go. Let's fix it. I know. No, we are not patching it with just store-bought patches like this, you know, that use a process known as cold vulcanization, which really doesn't mean anything. It means it's glued to your tire, and it's not the best thing. We're actually going to melt and form, vulcanize new rubber into the damaged area. Kind of similar to what the old school sizzle patches did, where you lit them on fire, you clamped them on. I don't have a little clamp right in front of me, but you clamped them on, and it formed this, it took this uncured rubber and vulcanized it and permanently bonded it to the rubber. Kind of similar to that, but we're going to actually use tools for it. Since you can't, I don't think you can buy these anymore. They've been gone for a long time because we've decided that laziness is of putting on a patch like this is good enough, but I'm going to show you how to do it good, the correct way. So this is my vulcanizing machine. I have a whole video on it actually repairing sidewall cuts and tires and stuff like that. This is not that. This is just repairing a tube with one of these. And honestly, I don't expect people to actually do this. I just want to show that it can be done and show you how it's done, essentially. So, essentially you just have two heating pads that heat up and clamp, heat and pressure, raw cushion gum rubber, uncured rubber, heat and pressure, turns it to this solid rubber state that we know is just like a rubber inner tube, and permanently bonds it. This is just carburetor cleaner. You use brake clean or something else. Essentially, this is just acetone. Just like you would do a normal patch. Now we're going to abrade it. You have to get it down to, there's like a, almost like a thin layer on top of the rubber that needs to be cut through just to be able to bond new rubber to it. So this is just a little like a sanding stone. And we're just going to abrade the surface. That's about it. It's a big fat tube. Let's see if I can. That's it. You don't want to get it so hot that you melt it. Like, you don't want to sit there and just burn that until it melts the rubber, because it'll actually, you can actually uncure rubber by getting it too hot. So we'll take that, and I got a little bit of dirt I wiped into it. Clean it off again. And now I'll get my cushion gum. We're going to go from there. Okay, this is cushion gum. This is available at just every corner store in every other country besides America, Canada, and probably Europe. But everywhere else, this is readily available and not an uncommon item, and you get a bunch of different types. Here in America, it's not the easiest stuff to find, but I'll put links below to all this stuff if you want to do this. Okay? This is just uncured rubber. It has a shelf life of about a year plus. This is probably about 3 years old, 2.5 years old, because I keep it in the freezer, so that keeps it longer. But if you just left it out in a hot environment, it's only going to last probably about a year. Essentially, it is just, I mean, let it thaw out for a second, and we'll come right back. Well, we're letting that thaw for a second. This is our, I'll call it glue, but it's not really. It's just dissolved cushion gum. So it's just dissolved rubber, this stuff, that I've just mixed with gasoline and let it sit. And it just turns into kind of like a liquid. And we're just going to, I mean, this is just thin, so it just gets into all the cracks and stuff like that. It doesn't really bond it. It just kind of takes up space where there might be a little pinhole and helps flow out the rubber a little bit better. But it's not a glue like you think a glue is, okay? It is not rubber cement. Rubber cement will not work. And a little bit goes forever. It doesn't actually need to dry or anything else like that. Okay, this is thawed. We're just going to stretch it out. You have to stretch it. It heats it up, activates it. And generally, I like to fold it over on itself. I'm going to stretch it out to about the patch size I need. I'm going to put this over, and then I'm going to roll it out with a roller. You can also just take the tips of the scissors and stuff like that, and you can sit there. You'll notice in third world country videos, they're just kind of massaging it into the rubber, getting all the air bubbles out. I have a roller that I made right here. It's just a bunch of washers welded together with little grooves cut on them. Nothing special. I'm just going to roll this out. And you kind of want to roll it so you see it start sticking really good. It was peeling up there a second ago. We'll just keep rolling and working it in. You need to manipulate and massage and, you know, kind of like, I guess like bread or something. Knead this stuff into your work area. Now, the nice thing about this method, if you have a huge, I'll see if I can pull up a picture. I had a tube that was ripped almost over halfway around, just a bicycle tube, and you're able to use this, do way bigger repairs than you could ever do with something like a tire patch. You'll know if you put a tire patch on something like this, it would just peel on like a big old hole. They just peel off or they bubble up. This stuff, no. I'm just working it really nice and thin. And this piece, I'll just lay over and try to encapsulate the whole thing. While working out the air. And it won't stay looking like this. It'll completely melt and just ooze out in every direction. Just going one side to the next, just trying to work out any air bubbles. That's it. This is the machine. You don't adjust the temperature. It already sets, it's like a 300 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's around 300 degrees Fahrenheit. But yeah, I have a bottom heating element, a top one for doing tires and stuff like that. I don't need the bottom one in this scenario because I'm only doing one side of the tube. So, and then this is just a sheet of aluminum. This just keeps the stuff from sticking as easily. Otherwise it sticks to these pads and you got to peel it off. This just makes so I can pull it out and then pull this off of, if it makes sense. Aluminum foil you could use as well. Aluminum foil is just a little thin. Okay, I have curved dies in here right now for a tire. It doesn't really matter. Let's bring that way up. It does not care. Just gonna get that over the die, nice. Okay. I'm just gonna put this right over the top of it. And this just adds the pressure to it. It has to have pressure. It has to be clamped down to be able to form. This is just a little timer dial thing. It actually only takes about 3 minutes of curing to cure that, but it takes a couple minutes to heat up. That's cooking away. I'll show you some other things you can do. Here's a valve stem that's completely ripped off. I've reformed valve stems onto tubes. You can actually just you can even move it. You can cut that right off, plug that hole up, and move the valve stem somewhere else and save a bunch of tubes. Give it a while to cool down. Otherwise, this is a blazing hot thing. Let's pull off this patch, or let's pull off this piece of aluminum. Now, it's going to be a little out of here on the edges. We can grind that down. Because it clamps in the middle and out towards the edges. I didn't buff. And also, it's not clamped as well. So, the edges might not stick. But reassure the middle is stuck. So, you can just leave that. Or you can actually just kind of peel off the edges. I'm getting into fresh stuff and let it cool down. We can also just sand it off with a little buffer wheel. There we go. You can tell where it's not bonded because it's all like bubbly. You know, where it didn't get clamped. And see, it's not even cured right there. But actually that stuff is cured right here that I pulled off. Boom, boom. Let that cool down to room temperature completely. It's still kind of warm. And I'll kind of grind off just the little flaps that didn't clamp down in the middle. Here we go. Let's pump it up with air, but I mean, this is a $50 tube. And this is a good old USA made one that I guarantee is 10 times better rubber and 10 times thicker than what you could buy even now for 50 bucks. That's bigger than it would be inside the tire. But we could clean it up now if you wanted to a little bit. How much it spreads out, you know. It tripled, quadrupled in size, smushing out in there. So I did about 25 minutes, then I just let it sit for like 20 minutes before I touched it. So it was about 45 minutes total before I actually pulled it off the machine to completely cure it. Probably didn't need that long. I find that it's better to go on the longer side than the shorter side. And if you pull it off and it's not completely cured, you can just put it back, clamp it, and keep going. Like you pull it off, it'll just look like a tar. But when you pull it off and it looks completely cured, it's cured. So say you had like a 6 to 10 inch gash in the tube, you know, trashed. Nope. You can even take tubes that are completely ripped in half, and there's techniques where you can, you know, if it's completely ripped in half, you can actually fix it with this machine right here. But it gets a little bit difficult when it's this big, but a bike or motorcycle tube, no problem. But if you had like a 6-inch gash, you could do it two ways. You could do a section at a time. So say you had the slit going from here to here, you could do a section right here, then move it up and do another section and do another section. Do it 3-4 different times just to keep patching your section. Or these plates, I know they look curved, but they're just flat, and you have your different dies. But you could just use it right at the flat, and you could get some like 1/4-inch steel plate and just lay that across there, lay one on the top, and just sandwich your entire damage area under that plate. You know, if it's stuck out quite a bit, you might have to put some C-clamps or something on the edges of it just to help. You need pressure. Where there's not enough pressure, it doesn't cure. And just clamp it down really good and let this heat up for extra long, you know, till it cures. And I can do a video later on this summer or something about a valve stem, how to replace those, how to fix those with this machine, how to put a brand new one on. I mean, I could put it here, could put it there, put it in the same spot. If you want to see the sidewall repair, I'll show you that right now. I'll pull that tire out. So this is the tire I did in the last video. Right here, there was a huge gash. Right there, I actually sliced this little X pattern off, lifted it up, and repaired the sidewall gash. I mean, you can kind of see that, you know, this K, there's supposed to be a K here, it's supposed to say Tusk, is gone, but I mean, that's months. That'll last the life of the tire. A huge sidewall gash, you know, and you still got a new tire. Ginger thinks this is a toy now, so let's go play with it. No! Too high. Okay, come on. Come on, we can do it. Come on. Come here. Sit. Hey. Jump. 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 Good job. Thanks for watching, guys.